Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum. In today's video, I'll be making another argument for the beginning of the universe. This is the first scientific argument from the beginning of the universe, for the beginning of the universe. Basically, it's the argument from second law of thermodynamics. Now, what is actually I was going to make the video about the other scientific argument first, but I would have to explain the same things that I would be explaining here, right? So I thought I should do this first. Now, I think this is an extremely powerful argument, and I'll be explaining that now. Why? The argument is basically here's how the argument goes. Entropy is the measure of disorder in a closed system. The lower the entropy, the higher the order, right? According to the second law of thermodynamics, entropy in a closed system always increases. Now, it is well established fact that our universe started in a state of very low entropy, and that although the universe is moving towards a state of thermodynamic equilibrium, right, it is not yet in such a state. If given enough time, universe will reach a state of thermal equilibrium, basically heat death. There would be no more useful energy in the universe, and there won't be life, there won't be anything left in a state of thermal equilibrium, heat death. Now, the relevant point is this: the entropy in a closed system always increases. Our universe is basically a closed system. The entropy is always increases, and it is going towards a state of thermal equilibrium. Now, think about this point. If the universe is past infinite, right? There has been an infinite amount of time, and in an infinite amount of time, the universe would have reached a state of thermal equilibrium, but it's not in such a state. If the entropy is always increasing, right, it always increases in a closed system, and universe has been around for an infinite amount of time, then enough time has passed for the our universe to reach a state of thermal equilibrium. Then why hasn't it reached a thermal equilibrium if the universe is past infinite? The only reason, sensible explanation is that our universe has not been around for an infinite amount of time, which means the universe is past finite, and hence it has a beginning. I think it's a clear cut proof. I don't think there's any way around this. Now, this argument will apply with basically in the theory of quantum gravity. It is extremely likely to apply because of Wall's theorem. It's basically a theorem that proves quantum singularity, which means that the argument I just presented, right, it should hold in a theory of quantum gravity. So there is no excuse for this. Now there are some contentions, and I will expose the atheist dishonesty on this topic, and it's actually very easy to see. Firstly, the atheist will come up with some speculatory models, etc. Again, more speculations, right? But they are just that, speculations. And why should we ignore the clear cut data, clear cut evidence, and the clear cut interpretation of the evidence? Why should we ignore that for mere speculations? We shouldn't ignore that. Now, I want you to see the strength of this argument and the shamelessness and dishonesty of the atheists. Basically, I'll do this using the Craig Carroll debate and the second Kalam documentary. Actually, I'll use the first one as well to prove my point here. First thing is the Craig Carroll debate, right? Craig brings up the argument I brought up for the beginning of the universe, and in his reply, right, in the opening statement of Carroll, at the 35-minute mark, basically he acknowledged that this is a great challenge, the second law of thermodynamics, but we shouldn't draw the conclusion of God from this. Now, Carroll is strawmanning the argument here, and he's engaging in a lot of fallacies, but in the context, he's talking about the beginning of the universe and second law of thermodynamics, proving the beginning of the universe. Here, Carroll calls this a great challenge, right? You can watch the debate after at the 35-minute mark. I'm not lying about this. Now, in the first Kalam documentary, these atheist clowns, uh, you can watch this. There is actually a brief section on the second law of thermodynamics. Uh, Two scientists respond to this. One of those clowns gives an extremely speculative model regarding second law of thermodynamics. I don't think most scientists will make the claim that he made. It's a beyond speculatory claim. It's beyond speculation. I don't think it should be taken seriously. The second point was from another scientist, right? He made a claim that basically the Wall's theorem, right? It only applies in an infinite space. Problem is that if someone doesn't believe in actual infinite, right, they can't use that model. Notice that he doesn't address the argument. He just tried to brush it aside with the secondary problem. Of course, that atheist clown didn't bother to mention that when the second law, even if one does not believe in an actual infinite right, the argument can still apply, which is why in Craig pointed this out in his response to the Kalam documentary. In the second atheist Kalam documentary, these clowns got even more desperate. I've given the timestamp, go watch this, and they simply just deny that this is an argument for the beginning of the universe. Now, think about this point. Carroll, who's usually one of the most dishonest and desperate atheists, right? Even he admits that this is a great challenge, and he's talking about beginning of the universe. Carroll says this in the second clown documentary at 43 minutes 30-second mark. These clowns even deny that the second law of thermodynamics is an argument for beginning of the universe. I mean, this is just beyond desperate. You don't need to take my word for it. I'm giving you the timestamp. Watch those debates and the documentary at the specific time I'm giving, and you can see the utter shamelessness and dishonesty of these clowns. Inshallah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I think this is an extremely powerful argument for the beginning of the universe, and I think the atheist desperation and dishonesty just proves my point of how strong an argument this is. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Inshallah, I'll keep making more arguments like this, more videos like this. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum.